Hi, everyone. My name is Tess, and I'm from Sustainable Kingston. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar. Just before I continue, letting everyone know that this webinar will be recorded and posted to the Sustainable Kingston YouTube channel, as well as on social media. So at Sustainable Kingston, we're a small nonprofit with a mission to enhance the livability and resiliency of Kingston, and we've been hosting monthly webinar sessions. And this month, we're very excited to welcome the Repair Cafe Kingston for the Don't Nix It, Fix It webinar. So I am going to pass it over to Philip from the Repair Cafe to take it over. So off to you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Tess. We are super excited to be taking part in this, and thank you very much to Sustainable Kingston for running this. I'm Philip Wendt, and one of the co-founders of the Repair Cafe Kingston. I'll be introducing you to Brian Weir in just a moment here. And oops, sorry. It's not COVID, I promise. but yeah, so I want to just go through and just do a short introduction to what repair cafes are, and whatnot, and then we're going to get into the demonstrations of really why we're here. So just going to flip over to share my screen. All right, okay, good stuff, good stuff. So there we are, Repair Cafe Kingston. Don't nix it, fix it. A little bit of housekeeping before we go on, just so everyone's aware. Most people at this point are familiar with Zoom, but in case it is your first time using it, I'll just walk you through the buttons. Number one there is the mute button or a microphone button. So if there is a line through that, that means you are muted. I would ask that you please stay muted for the majority, unless you have something specific to say. There's can be a lot of background noise otherwise. The second button there is a video button, and if there is a line through it, that means your video is not showing. You're certainly welcome to show your video, but if you have any issues with bandwidth particularly, you may wish to cross that off, and that will make it easier for you to participate if you have limited bandwidth issues. Number 3 is the button will show you participants, so you can see who is in the meeting. Number 4 is the chat button, a little chat bubble there. I would invite you to click that, and you will see an ongoing list of chat questions that you can type in, and that's what we'll be using for the duration of this. As Brian fixes things, I'll be monitoring the chat, and if there are any questions while he's going, if it's immediately relevant to what he's doing, we may just pause and ask him about what he's doing. Otherwise, if there's a question, that we'll save time at the end to go through other questions, and if you have other questions about your own fixes and these sorts of things. 5 is reactions. So there's a little button there if you have a thumbs up or a smile or a yes or a no. Should we ask any questions, rather than unmuting and all saying yes or no, you can nod your head, or you can just put the reaction button. That's just a thumbs up, thumbs down, smiley face, whatnot. And 6 is the leave button. When you're done the meeting, you just click that, and then you're out of Zoom. What we're looking at doing today is, well, we did our introductions there, but we're going to talk about what Repair Cafe is, what is Repair Cafe Kingston specifically, on to the fixing demonstrations with Brian, and then any questions that you might have. So, a Repair Cafe. What is the Repair Cafe? So Repair Cafes, it was an idea that was started in the mid-2000s in the Netherlands, and every year more and more cafes have been popping up all around the world, so making this truly an international effort. And really what they are is free meeting places that are all about repairing things with people together. So at a Repair Cafe, you're going to find tools, you're going to have materials to help you really make a whole variety of any repairs that you might need. Things like clothes, furniture, electrical appliances, bicycles, crockery, appliances, toys, on and on and on. Just nothing too big that won't fit through the door, and nothing combustible. Those are our rules on that. But also, what you're going to find at a Repair Cafe are volunteer experts who have repair skills in all kinds of fields. The idea with this is simple. Visitors bring in their broken items from home, And in the repair cafe, you start making the repairs together with the specialists who have the repair skills. It's meant to be an ongoing learning process. So, if but also if if you don't have anything to repair, you can also just come and enjoy coffee, tea. We've got that there too. And that's the cafe, the literal cafe part of this. Or if you just want to come and lend a hand with someone else's repair job too, that's perfectly fine. Having fun with this is a big part of the cafe as well. So now, why do we have a repair cafe? I realized when putting this together that given that we're talking to Sustainable Kingston, if you're here, I might be preaching to the choir on this one, but allow me to just a little bit anyways. But why a repair cafe? Well, we as North Americans and Western civilization, we throw a lot of stuff away, in particularly things that really don't really have much wrong with them at all. Things that really could get a completely new lease on life after just a simple repair. And problem is that lots of people have forgotten that you actually can repair items, or they don't, they don't think about it, or they simply don't know how to do the simple repairs. Or I find a lot of the time now with modern technology, people don't actually know which products to buy that could even be fixable in the first place. The difference between one laptop that is very fixable versus another one which is completely sealed and with soldered RAM and is completely unfixable is hard to tell at the first purchase. So the Repair Cafe, we want to change a lot of that, and we really want to create a knowledgeable appreciation of how to fix things. Helping fix things so they can be used longer, so they don't have to be thrown away into a landfill. Reduces the volume of raw materials and energy needed to make new products. Also cutting CO2 emissions quite significantly because there's less manufacturing of new products. And regarding recycling of things, recycling is a good practice, don't get me wrong, but repairing versus recycling an item means that there are going to be no emissions from the delivery and the processing of the recycled products. We really want people to see their possessions in a new light so that you can really appreciate their value again. We want to be helping change people's mindsets because we've got a consistent consume mindset, and changing that is really essential to keeping people's enthusiasm and changing into more of a sustainable society. All right, so Repair Cafe Kingston specifically, just a sec there, get my screen there. So we are your very own local repair cafe. We started in 2017, generously funded and started as a community initiative of the Kingston Unitarian Fellowship. We have about 30 volunteers, all from the Kingston area. At any given cafe, you'll find 10 to 15 of us at any one event. Now I've kind of separated this into our current epochs of of life right now. We've got in the BC before COVID times, you would see us from 2 to 4:30 p.m. every Sunday afternoon, or every second Sunday afternoon of the month at 206 Concession Street, and that is the basically the basement of the Kingston Unitarian Fellowship building. In the PT, the current time, the present troubles, essentially where things are suspended, for operations are on hold right now because with COVID. We are doing local webinars and podcasts just like this one today. If we have inquiries, as we still do have inquiries about repairs, but we are forwarding those inquiries to the Clients Meet Fixers Facebook group. So this is a Facebook group where essentially you can go on and post an item that you need fixed, and then a fixer can independently on their own go on also and see if there's anything that they think they could reach out and help someone fix. And then it's really up to those two people to coordinate about how the what's, the where's, the when's, the how's, and all of these details. Do note for just a variety of sort of legal and quality control reasons, it is not part of Repair Cafe proper. You will find a lot of the fixers from Repair Cafe in there, but it is its own autonomous group. Now, In our last epoch, the AV, the after vaccination, we are very hopeful for a restart in the fall and that we can return to a more regular schedule again. Obviously, we'll be looking at any guidelines for safety and distancing that we need to put in place, but that's our tentative plans as of now, and we're keeping our fingers crossed for that. So, all right. So I'm going to stop talking about all this stuff and get to the real reason why we're here, to introduce Brian, one of our co-founders and expert fixers, and start talking about some of the fixing that he does. All right.
Okay, I'm just trying to make.
And we're going to spotlight you there, Brian.
There we go. Thank you.
You are on and live. Hello, Brian.
Great. Hi, everybody. Okay. Without further ado, this is a broken chair. What's happened, as we've often seen, is the bottom rung has broken out of it. Normally, it's held in with a dowel and glue, something like that. That goes in the end here, and then that slides in. See, still working with that. That slides in to the chair there. Okay, so what do we need to do? We need to get out the broken dowel, and then we need to put in new ones with glue. So let's start. First thing is the seat has to come off. Why? So that two things, so that we can see what's going on beneath it, and because the seat actually kind of holds things together too. So I'm turning it over, and I can see some little holes down in there. If I look in, it's a Phillips screwdriver. That's the star-shaped screwdriver. So I'm going to slide that down in and loosen these screws off. Oh, there's one here with no screw in it. That's because earlier on, it actually fell out of this hole. So I saved it, and the screw hole there is too loose. We'll show you how to fix it on the way back together. So, typical thing, got 4 screws holding it. There, I got my screwdriver fitted. Spin it around. And when the screw comes loose, it's hard to get it out. It doesn't sort of want to come unless it's stuck to something. There's a couple of things for that you can do. One is, once I'm sure it's totally loose, I'll take a little tiny magnet, put it to that, see if I can persuade it to stick to the screwdriver. That's not happening. So we're going to turn it upside down over the cloth here, and the cloth will catch the screws as it falls out. Okay, there's one. Now, there we go. Seat comes loose. Just set that out of the way. And now I know that there's at least 2 more screws. So I'm going to take something thin, and I'm going to poke down through the holes. There's one. Okay, good. Done there, got one. That one's a little stubborn, so I'm going to put the screwdriver on it again. Try to poke down in. Okay, now comes one of the most important tips, the part tray. So now I know I'll be able to actually find those screws when I want to put it back together. So we've got the whole thing apart. Sorry, not the whole thing apart. We've got the seat off so that we can see the construction of the entire thing. And what I want to do is to get this front leg is the one that has a broken dowel in it. And this back leg also has a broken dowel in it. So what we need is to get the front one off. I did for speed, I did the back one earlier, but we still have a broken dowel in the front one. So I'm looking at what holds it together. And this is your typical bolt together IKEA type furniture, your assembled furniture. And it comes with an Allen key, named after some guy named Allen, I suppose. It's also called a hex key because it's 6-sided hexagon shape. And they can be bought almost anywhere, even the dollar store. So I'm going to undo that. And in the assemble together furniture, this bolt, it goes into a nut that is slid inside the furniture itself. Okay, so I'm going to show you that. Up inside this point, let me see now. There we go. Up inside here, there's a little tiny silver thing, a little round silver thing. It's not that tiny, but it's in the hole and the bolt goes into it. So once again, we're going to drop something out. There it goes. And now I have the two parts of that. This small unit with a screw thread in it went in a hole underneath. And this bolt went into it. So I'm going to put them together so they don't get lost. And so there's my bolt and my nut that goes in the wood. Once again, it goes in the tray along with the wrench. Next step, how do we get this apart? Oh, we're in luck. Some old glue has failed. Now this is a very typical thing of glue that gets older, is it will either fail, come loose, but that's a good thing. Why would it be good that the glue fails? Well, not ideal, but it's very good if you need to fix it because you can knock it apart. And to knock it apart, some blocks of wood. Now, one kind of wood that's better for it is called softwood. Pine is a soft wood and oak is a hardwood. Literally, one is harder than the other. If I have a piece of hardwood, I can barely scratch it. If I have a piece of pine, I can actually put a dent in it with my nail. That's good. Why is it good? Because we're going to put this piece of wood on the back of the leg and see if we can knock it loose. We're going to see if we can knock it loose from the glue either here at the bottom or up here. It doesn't matter as long as I can get this part of the leg out. So if I can take this out and this part here allows us to do that. If it hadn't come loose on its own, I would have hit it here with the wood too to try to knock it loose. So no further ado, I'm going to rest this evenly. And then I'm going to take this piece of pine, set it in behind it, and I'm going to whack it with a hammer. And I'm not going to be too shy about it because I can't dent that nicely finished furniture leg as long as I've got the soft block of wood there. Let me see if I can move my hand so you can see what I'm actually doing. All right, so there we go. I need to get in here and hit it. Okay, so I'm going to whack it there. Good. Hey, there we go. A little scary at first, but it's not a broken leg. It's one that's come loose. I'll just have a look at the other piece. The other piece loosened up a tiny bit back here, but that's okay. Because when it goes back together, the seat sort of holds everything in place. So now we have two pieces with broken dowel in them. So how do we fix that? We got to get the dowel out so we can get the new dowel. We can get the new dowel back in. Where do we get the dowel? Canadian Tire, any hardware store will have them in different sizes. These ones, I measured the size. It's approximately 3/8 of an inch. So that's the size we're going to work with. Now to drill it out, what I'm going to do is clamp it to the edge of the counter with a non-marking clamp and show you how to carefully drill this out and stay in a reasonable center with it. Classical C-clamp is not a bad thing, but it doesn't have any pads on the ends and they're expensive now. So what I've got is a clamp. It can be picked up, Princess Auto, Canadian Tire, that kind of thing. Goes back and forth like that. And it has nice rubber pads on it. So I can do this. And just squeeze the handle. Oops. Got to get it in the camera here. Bring the camera back, please. Okay, so we've got that. Now, how to drill this out nicely with any kind of power drill? I need a few things. One is some drill bits. Once again, hardware store, Canadian Tire. And you'll notice I just picked up that dowel I was showing you and put it back in the tray. Now I've got some electrical tape. Electrical tape is wonderful stuff. I hardly ever use it for anything electrical. I use it for many other things. Now, one thing is you don't want to be drilling right through here. This dowel only goes part of the way through. You can see by the line I've got on it that it just goes in part way, halfway ideally. So how do I measure the depth of my drill? Well, what I'll do is I'll take the drill here and I'll take the dowel, which has a mark on it as to how deep it goes. And I'm going to put some electrical tape on the drill to tell me not to go any deeper. So I'll cut a little bit of tape. I'll take the dowel. I'll just line it up like that. I can go a tiny bit deeper if I want. It's better a little bit deeper than too shallow, because then the dowel won't go in all the way. So I've wrapped it with electrical tape. And what I'm going to do at the end of the tape, and this is a very useful thing to know, is I'm going to fold the end of the tape over, leave a flap off. The natural thing to do would be to try to wrap it around, but then you got to pick it loose to get it off again. Now I have a little flap for when I want to take it off. But wait, how am I going to start this as close to the middle of the hole as possible? That can be a problem. So what we're going to do is, using a nail and a hammer or anything that's pointy, we're going to estimate where we think the center of the hole is. And I'm going to tap it. And that's called using a center punch. We do actually make center punches. But anything that can be hammered and will leave a dent in the middle is just fine. There. Now I have a dent in the middle of the old piece of dowel. And now I'm going to take my little drill, my 1/8 drill bit, pilot drill it's called. Just like, you know how they have pilots to bring ships into harbors? When somebody pilots an airplane, it's a guide. So this is a pilot drill to guide the other bigger drills we're going to use. Okay, so I got my little hole. Now I'm going to go to a medium-sized drill, like let's say 1/4 inch drill. And I'm going to match up the black tape from the little drill with the big drill, and we'll put some more black tape on the big drill. So I'm wrapping it around. Once again, I'm putting a little flap on the end. Check it against the dowel. Yeah, that's good. And then, why not check it against the piece? I wouldn't want to see that it was actually going to go right through it. That would be poor. Not a good installation, although you could plug it and fix it. So I like the hole. It's reasonably in the center. So I'm going to go down to the black tape. Good, we're still in the center. Just down to the edge of the black tape. And now we can do the final drill bit. The reason we're not going in with the big drill bit is when you go in with a big one, it can really wander. It needs a guide, the pilot holes, to go down in straight, and it has to do less work when you've already drilled the center out. Okay, so now I'm ready. I'm holding it. Oh, my wife just reminded me, yeah, I forgot the tape on it, even after looking at it. got excited. Okay, so same thing again. I'm going to take this, take my other drill bit, look at where the tape should go. There we go. And once again, wrap the tape around it. For technical term, called a depth gauge. But again, the whole thing about fixing things that I like is to show you things that you can actually do at home. So we don't need an official depth gauge if we have some electrical tape or masking tape or whatever. So now I check again. I make sure that the tape is near the edge of it, and we're not going to go through it. Okay, so now we've got the hole for the dowel, and I'm going to put the dowel in to make sure it goes in. Good. So now we've got the dowel in the one piece. So we go to the bar, the cross piece, and same thing, it has a piece of dowel broken off in it. So this time, once again, I'm going to clamp it, but this time I'm going to point outwards. And I didn't take my tape off the other drill bits. So that's kind of useful too. I don't have to do it again. I know how deep it is. On this one, it's more forgiving because if we drill too deep, it won't hurt anything. However, if you drill too deep with the big one, the dowel might sink in too far. That's fixable if we put some newspaper in the end of the hole or something. Okay, so now I'm going to drill a 1/8 hole. Whoops, no, I'm not. I'm going to mark the center. I went and drilled the 1/8 hole. It might wander off to one side and then nothing else would go straight. So once again, I'm going to put my pointy thing as close to the center as I can. Just make a dent. All you need is that little dent in order that the small drill will follow it. Yeah, I'm just double checking. Yeah, looks good. When you're drilling a hole, you can, if you want, pull the drill back out to let some of the wood chips fall off the end of the drill bit. I noticed that it wasn't really drilling as much as it should, so I suspected, and I was right, that it had kind of got clogged up. Oh, need a battery from downstairs. It's in the red bag with the other driver in it. Okay, well, things happen. Okay, so now we're going to use the second one. Excuse me for just a sec.
I can jump in real quick too, Philip, again,
I
just to
got
say
it.
that as I'm watching this, this is very much reminding me of, if you're actually at the repair cafe and this is your chair that you're bringing in, we're almost getting that sort of personal, first person view of what it looks like too. So this has a real person experience to this. I'm kind of enjoying sort of seeing how it goes this way. Thanks, Brian.
Okay, so real person thing, used that drill yesterday, didn't feel I needed to charge it, but I did. So in the cafe, we would actually get you to try drilling the holes and stuff. We want to pass on this knowledge. So we don't really want you to bring it and have us fix it. We want you to learn how to do it, which is why we're showing you this. So now the second drill, I still have the tape on it. It's in reverse, bad idea. And once again, because I drilled the pilot hole, I know that it's reasonably straight. Nice thing about the pilot hole is it's small. If it's not quite on center, you could always try and drill another one. Well, I take a look at it. It's reasonably good. And now the bigger drill. Now we go back to our parts tray and find this and try it in. Okay, great. So now we have the dowel stuck in the end. Now I did the other ends just to speed things along. And so now we're actually ready to put it back together. So first I'll take a look at it, and then I'll get my standard wood glue. You could use white glue too. Just yellow carpenter's glue. Pretty well any kind of glue is all right for any kind of wood glue. All right, now how to put the glue on. Well, we've got the top part here has got one dowel in it. So I'm just going to put it on there. Reasonable amount. Don't want to be too shy with it. And when we get to clamping it together, some glue will actually run out. So then we take a wet rag and wipe it off because it's water soluble. So you wipe it off before it hardens, no problem. You don't even see it. So now we have this piece here, which is sort of a machine-made dowel piece. So I'm going to put some glue all around it. So I put a little bit of glue on these dowel pieces that have to go in. Can you put a little water on that, please? Now, the other thing that's coming up is we have a new hole that has no glue in it yet. So I'll turn it upright. And I'll put a little bit of glue down in there. All right. Where else do we need it? Well, we need it in both ends of this piece here. Crossbar. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, can you tilt that over a little more this way, please? Yeah, okay, I'm going to take the crossbar and I'm going to put the dowel pins in it with the glue, okay? So I'm putting them in, see if it goes reasonably tight. Yes, it does, good. That means the glue will hold. Same on the other side. Some people, well, that's a little bit loose. Loose is okay, so I'm going to just add a little more glue. And when it sets, the glue will take up any shakiness. Any play in it is actually all right because it'll allow us to kind of adjust the fit of it when we, here we go. So I put in more glue and now that dowel slid in nicely. We can't shake it loose. And now for good measure, just a little bit on the dowel itself. Now we don't want to do that too long because the dowels actually kind of swell as they get the glue in them. Okay, so I've got a little bit of wet rag I just wipe my fingers with there. And, set it on its back. I'm going to insert one of the dowels down here and push it down. The little glue will come out. So I'll just give it a quick wipe for now. And now the upper part. So we're going to take the leg, which has this sort of big hole here and two little dowel holes there. And let me see, it's the top dowel that has some glue in it. The bottom hole is actually for a screw or something, okay? Oh, it's for the screw that we took out, go figure. All right, so first I'm going to put it on this raised up part. Just get a couple of things out of the way. So we have this raised up part. That's the piece I'm going to put it on first. I'm going to take this hole here in the leg. I'm going to insert it on that. Okay, so we fitted that back together. It's on the front of the unit. And then I'm going to move it and line up the top dowel pin piece, sort of like a jigsaw puzzle in a way. And I'm going to move around and there we go. So now I have it glued here, dowels inserted. I'll try putting it together with just my hands and see how that goes. Okay, it looks like up top we need a little bit of a tap. Again, I'm using a piece of soft wood and a hammer. Nice and flat on the counter. Okay, I got my wet rag here. You see we got a little bit of wood glue oozing out. Take my wet rag, dissolves in water, and away we go. Now it also decided it wanted to come apart again here. So we'll push it back together, and it looks like we need some sort of clamp for that. So what I'm going to do, we have big clamps, but you don't have to buy one. I'm going to put a rope around it. Actually, just put a rope around the top right across, as long as we got something that simply pulls across. Wait a sec. If we put that screw back in now, I was going to put it in later, but if we put it back in now, that will pull it together. So let's do that. If I didn't, or if I needed to clamp right around this whole thing, I would put a rope around it. Okay, and this would pull everything together. I would tie a knot in the rope, and then, leaving it slack, I would take a piece of wood and I would wind it around and around so that as you tightened the rope, it pulled on everything. But we don't need to do that because we can put our screw, which we have handily put in the parts tray. I'm going to see if I can cut the glare a little bit there. Oh, I'll keep going for now. So we're back to assembling with this part here, the screw and the nut that slides inside. All right, so the nut that slides inside goes into this hole. So what I'm going to do, it goes into that hole, and then we slide the screw in the other way and it goes into the hole in the nut. So it has some conveniently located slots in it for you to put a screwdriver in. We could use a star one on that. So we're going to use a star screwdriver. I'm going to push this in and see. Nope, doesn't quite go in. So I'm going to gently move that in and hold it steady until I think, or can feel, there we go. I can now feel that it has engaged the nut. And because the nut's a cylinder inside here, it won't turn around or anything. All we do is we get that hex key, once again, conveniently located in the parts tray, and we tighten it up. Now, as I tighten that up, with any luck, some glue should ooze out here and there. All right, so it did. Once again, I'm going to wipe the glue just to commit a niceness, so it won't really be noticeable afterwards. So now we have a chair that's back together. Now you'll remember that we knocked it apart here, and there is no screw holding that together. So I am actually going to put the rope clamp on that to pull the front and back together. So I'm going to tie a relatively loose loop. I'm going to insert this. Oops. Okay, it wasn't loose enough, actually. Move it out a little bit. Let's see what happens here. Now you can see as I tighten this piece of wood, it does actually start to ooze glue out of there. So I've tightened this piece of wood and it's tightening the rope. I'm going to try to take some electrical tape, which the reason I like electrical tape so much is it peels off very easily, but it's still reasonably strong. So let that go for a sec. And cut a little piece of tape. Sorry about the glare. We had it fixed earlier, but it's there now. So once again, I'm going to tighten the tape up using the rope clamp. And then see if I can, well, might be able to actually stick it behind here. A piece of tape across it just to keep it from coming loose. There, and now we have a rope clamp. How you know that the glue is okay is you see a tiny bit oozing out the edge right here. Good. Next step, we put the seat back on. For that, we flip it upside down. And slide the seat under it. Now earlier I'd said that here's the back of the seat, back of the chair. Earlier we'd said that one of the holes was kind of gotten too big. The screws wouldn't hold in it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some toothpicks, a tiny bit of glue, and stick it in the hole. Now I believe I marked it. Yeah, I did. Okay. So making sure, there we go. I've lined up the holes with the holes, gotten a view of them all. Let me just see if this is any better. So I'm going to find the one that I marked, which has an X on it. It says that no, that hole isn't very good. See if I can locate it. And I'm going to insert some toothpicks into this hole back here. Get a little tiny bit of glue. Put it in, break it off. Put it in, break it off. This is a nice way to fix stripped screws, screws that turn and turn in the wood because they kind of wore the wood out. You can also use wooden matches for slightly bigger holes. So now we're going to put the seat back on. Let's see. Got to find the back of the seat. I see here, there's marks. There's marks on it back there, back there. That way I know it's the back. I'll turn it upright for starters. I might be able to put it on right side up. Let's have a look. Okay, there. There we go. There we go. Beautiful thing. So now I need to line up the holes again. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to lift it, look for the holes, and then I can see with the light, I can look down through and see that the holes are about there. And I'll take my little pointy thing and find at least one hole. Could use, to find that hole, get it started, you could use a longer screw like this one. Now we got the original screws. And they are a star screwdriver or a Phillips. I need to get it to drop through this piece. There we go, starting to screw down in. That looks good. I'm not going to tighten that just yet until I start the other one. Oops, it didn't take. That's interesting. So I'll put it down through. There's something unusual about that one. It should have dropped down in. Nice and easy. But what we'll do is we'll try the other one. There we go. So over here, it actually dropped through. That should have happened on this one, but it didn't. So we'll take it out and deal with it in a minute. Okay, there we go. Beautiful. That one's going in. Now you could, if you had a power driver, you could simply do that. Now I don't want to over tighten those either. I'll end up with the same problem that already happened on the other side there, where the screw got over tightened and stripped and came loose. All right, two there. That one goes in all right. And this one over here. This is the one that had the toothpicks inserted into the hole. There we go. And so now it's tight again. And once the glue sets and everything, that'll be fine. So let's turn this upright and see if we got everything right. Yep, looks like a chair. Hold it back a little bit. Tilt it up, please. Thank you. Okay, so our chair is fixed. I'm going to leave the rope clamp on it for a few hours just to keep the top together. Needs one more little wipe. And that's that. So I'm going to set this aside. We have it in just a few minutes. I'm going to show you a simple fix for replacing the switch on a lamp. Okay, so this switch is okay. I want to use it on a different lamp. How do they come apart? First of all, the top piece unscrews. Very simple. Next, this one has some slack in the wire. That's good, because it goes like that. It fits down in. The switch fits down in like a slot and comes up. Now you notice that the switches are two different colors, okay? One is a silver color, screws, and one is a brass color. The silver one is what's called the neutral. So you want to think of it, it's often the white wire. Now the white wire in electricity, also it's neutral, it's called. It corresponds to the wide blade on the plug. So wide, white. This is sort of a grounding issue, if you like, or something like that. I don't fully understand it, but it's a safety thing. So what you do is, if you're replacing these, you make sure that the white wire always goes to the white or silver terminal. So let me see what we are doing time-wise. So I'll take this one off, show you how to take the entire thing off. So I loosen those two screws. And then by hand or with a pair of pliers, just carefully take the wires off. Now, if these wires didn't have enough slack in them for me to lift this unit up and out of it, I would have to cut open the base, take this is a little stop to keep things from pulling out. And I would have to make it so that there's some slack in that cable, and this can go in further, and then it goes up the middle, and then I would be able to pull the top up further. So now what? So now we've got this part and we got this part. We need the rest of it. So we look at the base, and typically they all screw on. At which point I'm saying, please let this unscrew. This is a little tight at the top. Makes me wonder if it's glued, but it should be screwed. So I'll take my nice simple slip joint pliers to hold it. Okay, what's happening there is it's in the base, it's turning there. It doesn't want to come unglued from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as nicely as possible, cut the base open. Now you can always make a piece of felt or something if you want to do it yourself. And of course, be gentle with the knife, just little tiny cuts. And we see what's under there. It's stuck on. Okay, piece of cardboard, the base, and there's the magic nut on the bottom that holds everything together. And there's the little clip that protects the wire coming in. So I'm going to use the pliers to pull the wire just a little bit to slack it off. And then I'm going to loosen this nut on the bottom here. It's the nut that holds everything together.
Brian, I'm just going to jump in real quick and say
Okay,
we've got about 8 minutes here, so maybe we'll
Okay, we're a little
do
low
another
in time.
3 minutes. We'll maybe do another 3 minutes of this, and then if people have questions to kind of keep
Yeah.
people up. If
Okay,
they
well,
have questions,
I'll
we'll take
just
the last 5
briefly.
minutes, so.
Okay, so time-wise, we can't complete this today, but this is a new socket here. Basically, this would unscrew. You might have to unscrew it here in order to get the business done. And then you take the new one, it screws back on. And same thing, it comes apart here. This is a metal one, so you pry it apart gently with a little screwdriver instead of unscrewing it. Okay, Phil, questions?
Okay. So yeah, we don't have to. We've had a few questions in the chat that we've answered already with the chat, but I did wanted to open up to people who were not in the chat to take a moment here. And if you want to unmute yourselves, this is a good time to ask Brian any questions about this, about some of the repairs that he was doing, or some of the repairs he could do to items that you have at your home.
More questions about the Repair Cafe in general?
That too.
Hey, Philip.
Hello.
It's Beckett.
Beckett, good to see you. Yeah.
Good to see you too. Good to see both of you. You know, while I was on this call with you, I actually had someone text message me and say, hey, how do I get connected to volunteer? Because I love fixing stuff.
Well, at this time, the thing to do would be to go to the Clients Meet Fixers Facebook page and sign up there and become a fixer. And what you do is you watch the Facebook page and you correspond with anybody who posts there with things that need fixed.
And then if they're looking to volunteer at the Repair Cafe proper, on the same Facebook site, on our Facebook page, just fire us off a message, and we will make sure it gets to our volunteer coordinator, and they can include you. We have a monthly send out list for all our volunteers, and we're happy to put people on that list. Absolutely. Great question. Yeah.
That's basically what I said, but I'm going to go fix the things I got wrong. Thank
Good
you.
stuff.
So I hope our first effort has been reasonable enough to watch. It's my first attempt at a webinar. I like to do these things in person, so this is the new in-person thing. I plan on doing a few more. I will follow through with the electric light switch fix, which is another really common thing we see at Repair Cafe. And then I'd like to do one. It'll be called Stick It or Screw It, or both. And what it'll be about how to use various things like glues, adhesives, tapes, and all the different kinds of screws. It's really useful to know what kind of glue or screw could be used to put that thing back together. There's so many different kinds of them, and if you use the wrong one, sometimes it's a very poor result. Sometimes things fall apart again, and even worse, can't be fixed after that. So we'll do something involving the full lamp switch replace, and it'll be called, the whole episode will be called Stick It or Screw It. Okay.
All right. Any last questions from people, either on the chat box or if you want to unmute yourselves, this is a great time to ask too. All right. Well, then I might throw it back over to Tess to just sort of wrap things up here. And But once again, thank you very, very much, Sustainable Kingston. This has been a real pleasure. Watching this actually seeing this happen as it goes, it really does remind me of this feeling like I'm at sort of at the table with Brian, and this is what we would be
Let
doing.
me ask, Phil and everybody watching, did it look okay? Were you able to see what I was doing all right? Because it's tricky trying to watch the computer, but also not slip and cut my hand or something. Were you able to see the fixes all right?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Just-
see some people have some thumbs up. So
Good, good, good.
Yep.
Wonder that makes my day, because that, of course, it's very hard to see me, and always wondered, am I in the focus? But I look up occasionally. It seemed to be all right, but I'm glad to get the thumbs up. Thank you very much.
awesome. So we should have the video up this week. But I'd like to thank both of you so much. That was a wonderful tutorial, and look forward to your upcoming series.
Well, thanks. And one of our beliefs at the Repair Cafe is there's many things you can actually do. And so we're happy to help out. Again, right now, if you need something fixed, please go to the Facebook page called Clients Meet Fixers. And if you want to be a fixer, go there, join up. If you need something fixed, go there, join up. And we will keep you posted. And we're at Repair Cafe Kingston on Facebook. And certainly when we're back in action, we'll be posting there and generally broadcasting it. We do hope to have a podcast in the near future also. Tess?
Amazing. Well, with that, I wish everyone a great rest of the day, and we hope to continue seeing you all at both of our upcoming webinars. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.